Hello and welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. I'm your host, Grace Helbig. I am beyond excited for you to experience this episode with Canadian actress, artist, performer, self-proclaimed witch, Vanessa Lengies. She is absolutely incredible. We talk about her foray into the world of entertainment as an only child in Canada with an outrageous and wandering imagination. And I cannot believe I'm still processing the amount of life advice that I've gleaned from her, including but not limited to the idea of buying a Price is Right type of wheel off of Amazon and using it to give you some self-help mantras throughout your day. We also learn about the remake of Turner and Hooch that she is in on Disney Plus, currently available for all of your viewing pleasure, and how she created one of the most incredibly beautiful pieces of art installation in her parking spot here in Los Angeles. Please enjoy all of this. I know this sounds very vague, but it all makes sense throughout this episode of Not Too Deep with the absolutely hilarious and lovely Vanessa Lengies. Okay, Vanessa, I have so many questions for you. You have had such a variety of a career, such an interesting endeavor into the world of arts. What's your skincare routine? Because your skin looks absolutely freaking phenomenal.
Oh my goodness, thank you. My skincare routine is Zoom appearance assistance.
Yes. I'm very aware of that added filter for all of us.
I was like, oh wait, what's this? I wash my face twice a day and I moisturize with
we're getting a bit of
Origins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. Well,
very simple.
I mean, sometimes the simplest things have the best results. Okay. Now, I'm genuinely curious because you've had a career in entertainment at a very young age. What was your childhood like? What was getting into the world of performing and art and entertainment? How did that happen for you?
It was an accident, really.
Yeah.
I'm very hyper.
Yeah.
I happen to know that we were both born the same year, 1985.
Yes.
There was something in the water that year.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just was a lot, period. And my dad had been a musician, and then he started producing music, and then he started producing other people, and then he started making music videos for them.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was I was 6 years old and he was just directing his first music video, and he had hired some actors. This is in rural Canada.
Right. That's what I was going to say. You're from Canada. And so you're watching this as a young child. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I wasn't watching. No, I was trying to suck all the attention from the shoot.
You were trying to steal focus.
Yeah. I was like, I don't understand why you hired those people. No. I was just being a real ham, and the agent who was visiting the set was saying to my parents, I don't have any kids in my agency.
Yeah.
What if she would go on some auditions for me? And
Wow.
They asked me, and I didn't know what that meant, but
Wow.
it was something where I could get more attention from people. Probably. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And that's how the accident happened. And then I quickly just saw it as a game, and I loved that. And it was like, oh, okay, how can I do this more? And I started doing voiceover work first, and then I moved to on screen, and I never looked. Well, actually, that's not true. I've done both since. But
well, you in doing all this research about you, so you did Arthur on PBS for 10 years. So that's wild to me that as a young, budding performer, that you want to get into the acting or entertaining world, but then you do voiceover, which is a very different avenue for all of that. And to do it for 10 years, what was that like?
It's a funny question to ask a 7-year-old because
Right.
I didn't have anything to compare it to. So I grew up in rural Canada in 1985. We're setting the stage.
Yeah.
And then it was Montreal, which is the closest major city that I lived near,
Mm-hmm.
was very, that at that time was making a lot of cartoons.
Okay.
That's just like what they were doing.
Gotcha.
And so it kind of was a natural first job for me because there was just so much cartoon production happening in Montreal at the time.
Okay.
And then I kind of just got in with this company called Cinar, and then Cinar eventually started doing television shows. So it was kind of like I was in the family of Cinar, and then started working on like Lassie and
wow,
Radioactive and all these other kids shows. So I don't really know what I thought about it. I just thought, oh, being a cartoon voice is really fun.
Yeah,
I like this job. And then when I remember working on my first on-screen job, loving the fact that I got to add my body. It was like, oh, that's like my voice, but now I get to like be a monkey as well. It's like, oh, this is perfect.
So what was your first on-screen job that kind of made the transition for you?
That was Lassie. That was an
Lassie?
episode of Canadian Lassie, not even American Lassie.
The more polite
I don't know
Lassie.
how many exactly. Yeah, that dog, eh? It was just it was an episode. I played a character named Charity. You know what? It was either Charity or Chastity. I can't remember, but I hope it was Chastity.
Two very moral compass ideas.
Canadian Lassie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the characters were named after virtues.
Love that. But that also is a very wild kind of full circle thing because now you're working on Turner and Hooch on Disney Plus. And so you have been working with animals in so many ways that I'm so curious how now Turner and Hooch has come about for you and like what that audition process was like, especially working with pups on set. Like what did you have to do any prep for any of that?
I think naively they did not ask us to do any prep with dogs.
They just assume everyone knows how to deal with dogs. Got it.
I think it was a surprise for all of us.
Sure.
I mean, the famous adage says never work with kids, trains, and dogs. Is that how it goes?
I've only heard about kids and dogs, but trains?
I just threw in trains just for the comment section. Yeah. So working with dogs, I don't remember what it was like when I was 10 working on Lassie. So I didn't have anything to pull from. I don't even know if I mentioned it in my audition. Like I have experience here, guys. But it was definitely, I mean, we're not working with toy poodles. We're working with like these giant French Mastiffs. They're way more than me. They are slobber machines. They don't necessarily want to do what you want them to do. It was because of the pandemic, we had to delay production. So they were so excited that the dogs had this extra time to train. Okay. So we got to set thinking, oh yeah, this is great. They're going
to be so well behaved. It's going to be incredible.
And it was just, I mean, it was a lesson in improv. It was a lesson in giving up the plan that, as an actor, you come with your prepared piece of work. Sure. And then, they really helped me see that doesn't matter. And what you do when you get onto set, that's where the magic happens. And if you can be present and if you can be interacting in the moment, magic will come of it. And I think as the show progresses, I think I got that like episode 6. Yeah. Like, real talk. Real talk episode 6 is where Vanessa Lengies starts to understand, oh, okay, I understand how to make a show about dogs.
I can imagine that there's probably, if you want to go deep on it, so many lessons to glean from being in the present moment with dogs, mapped over being in the present moment, acting, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, but it's called Not Too Deep, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll keep it surface. But no, seeing the videos, the behind the scenes videos that you've posted on your Instagram, those dogs are literally the same size as you. So there is a physical kind of battle going on behind the scenes, it seems like.
I am just happy that at least 50% of people believe that I am a professional dog trainer in the show.
Do you feel any more equipped now to kind of, be able to communicate with dogs in the real world?
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
Not to go deep, but I I feel like this experience has me understand. I thought that being a dog trainer was teaching dogs tricks.
Sure.
And it really is learning the personality of a dog and navigating, basically building a relationship of trust with that dog.
Yeah.
So when you do tell it to do something or try to guide it towards doing something, it trusts you. If it doesn't trust you, it won't do anything, even if it has the trick learned and practiced. So that was interesting. And I think now I definitely have a new sight on dogs and training. And I learned that it's very important when you get a dog to know what breed it is and what it's bred to do, because that, like, basically a lot of dog owners are trying to teach their dog to do things counter to their nature, which is just so mean when you think about it, right? Like, we have bred dogs, however you feel about the fact that we've done that, to all have a different purpose. Yeah. And then we think they should all act the same. Yeah. So I have a
it's also, I mean, that's very profound, and but also very simple at the same time. Like, how could we overlook such a simple concept for these creatures? The same way that, like, perhaps we want to be treated the same way. But it is wild when you zoom out on the world of dogs in general, and you look at the types that they are and the variations that they are, and that we have crossbred them in such ways to create these little monsters or these cartoon characters. I was a kid, like, my dog is like a half sort of, she's got like French bulldog in her, but she also has like pit bull. So she's a little aggressive, but she has breathing issues. And so, and she sounds like a Chewbacca all the time. And there's part of me occasionally that will look at her and go, "You're bred from wolves, and look at you right now. Like, what have we done?" But do you have any pets?
I don't have any pets. I used to have a toy poodle. Okay. Very, very different from a French Mastiff, I've learned. Yeah. I think my toy poodle was bred perfectly for what I needed in a dog, which was a lot of attention, some codependency. And she was just so cute and fluffy and soft. And she lived for like 17 years. Holy shit. Long time.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like full.
But she was like blind and deaf and senile for the last 3 years.
It is wild that we, keep these critters with us. We just watch the entire lifespan of them. It's wild. Okay. I'm curious about, because you filmed this, like you said, during the pandemic. So what was that experience like to be on set? I mean, I've seen all the, behind the scenes videos that you posted. Obviously, everyone's like abiding by the protocols and everything. But I'm sure to like create and do the story is a bit different than it would normally be.
Yeah. I mean, I feed off of interacting with people.
Right. Yeah.
Which is hard to do when everyone has to be 6 feet away with a mask on. And so there was an adjustment period, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Oh, I feel positive about, we did, sort of French hours, they call it, which is like shorter days. And so a longer production schedule, which I loved because I always feel for these crews who, when I'm done my 3 scenes, I go home and they're there 15 to 17 hours every day. It's grueling. And so that part was really great because the crew felt lively and energetic and rested every day. Yeah. And they were just an amazing crew as well. And also everyone had come back from having lots of time either at home immersed with their families, however they felt about that, or, just had their own personal time to recharge. So it felt like everyone was really hungry to work and hungry to get into something. So I feel like we all showed up on the same creative page.
Cool.
And then, just kind of sucks to be far away from people. For me, for a codependent only child born in 1985.
I love this life story narrative.
Yeah, just gonna keep bringing that back.
But no, that makes sense because I do. Yeah, I'm also curious in your pandemic experience. What was it like before having, like, to be able to work on set? I'm sure everyone was eager just to have some variation in the thing that they've been doing all day, whether that's be at home or whatever it is. And so, for your pandemic experience, before you started working on sets, did you get into the bread making? Did you get into the let me find a hobby that I can do at home situation?
My pandemic life, pandemic life.
Yeah, that's the new MTV series that's going to be coming out next year.
Fantastic. It involved a lot of costumes and fantasy play, to be honest.
Wow.
I mean, that's where I went. I was just like, all right, who am I going to be today?
Wait.
Lots of wigs.
So explain this a little bit more.
What is there to explain, Grace? I do not understand the question.
My brain's gone in 17 different avenues to
and you know they're all accurate.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know how X-rated this gets, but my costuming fed an entire spectrum of experience. Currently on a Disney Plus show, so I'm not sure what I can say.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think with the. So
it's keeping, I imagine, because I'm the same way with you, that like if left to my own devices, which I have been for most of my creative career, and so it's impossible to kind of explain in
what
any
happens.
mature way, how what I'm doing is my work and my craft, etc. But you do need to stimulate your imagination, because that is one of the key cornerstones of the work you do, is being able to foster that place in your brain that keeps the imagination going.
Yeah. And it's hard to tell if it's a choice or
or if it's a compulsion. But either way, I'm going to write off all of the Amazon onesies I bought as
for
work.
Sure. I bought a Amazon a spin wheel, like a Price is Right spin wheel, not a Price is Right one, but like a
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then like every couple days, I'd change the things on them so I could wake up and be like, all right, what's it gonna be today?
Wait, so what would you put? Okay, because this I think might be a great life hack for anyone, just to like have a fun day ahead of them. What are you putting on the little wedges of your wheel?
I had, as boring as like go outside and take a freaking walk. Do Canadians say frickin'? Do you meet a lot of Canadians who say frickin'?
I say frickin' occasionally, but I'm also, my fiance's mom has been in town, so I've just been trying to kind of censor myself a little bit more. So I don't know who says frickin' other than people that are trying not to say fucking the whole time.
I'm so on edge nowadays too, because I'm not on TikTok yet, and I know that's where you're like. That's where it's deemed whether you're not allowed or allowed to say something anymore. Like, I didn't know that we were supposed to have middle parts like 3 years ago. It's like no more side parts. I had no idea, didn't get the memo. I'm sure somebody's like, people who say frickin' or... Anyways.
I'm with you. Don't worry. All of these struggles, you're basically verbalizing my inner monologue all day long.
Thank you. I feel so seen.
Okay, but wait. So on this wheel, you're putting things on of like to-dos, activities. Okay.
It's like FaceTime a friend.
That's
great. Put on a costume. Play a board game. Pull cards. You know, like I have animal spirit cards or tarot cards.
I have tarot cards too. Yeah. This, I feel like we should package this, take it to Shark Tank and say like,
do it. We've invented the spin wheel, but
who needs therapy when they pay $19.99 for this spin wheel that gives them things to do to distract them from their own anxieties all day?
Exactly. Because instead of being alone, I'm now here with this not inanimate object.
Yes.
It moves. So it was $28. It was $28, but I got like the mega one because I really wanted it to be visually big. They came in different sizes.
I'm making a note for myself. I often learn many great hacks and tips and tricks from people that I talk to. This might be one of the best ones that I can't believe I haven't already indulged in. I'm literally making a note for myself.
This is the second thing that that I just realized that I came up with in the pandemic. So I no longer live at the apartment I lived in Venice during the pandemic, but I quickly realized that I am someone who needs a yard. And I didn't have a yard. It was just like was not available.
Sure. Yeah.
And so at one point I went to Home Depot, bought AstroTurf,
Okay.
a white picket fence, flower pots, a little American flag, some lawn chairs. And I started parking my car on the street. And in my parking spot in the parking lot of the apartment building, I built a yard.
In your parking spot? In
my parking spot, I built a yard.
And you got an American flag as a Canadian to hang in your parking spot. This is incredible.
It was a very the vision was nostalgic, like 60s American.
Sure,
or 50s, 60s, I'm not sure. It was some sepia toned, exactly. Some sepia toned time that was not the 70s.
Right.
That was, that classic, like, howdy neighbor.
That's amazing. And it was just for you to park your car. Did anyone in the complex
see me? Yes.
or like say anything about it to you?
No, but I feel like if I had gotten my full desire realized, my kiddie pool would have probably started some talk. Because that's what I really wanted. Like I was like, and it wasn't big. It wasn't big enough to host my chairs, the fence, the flower pots.
Oh my God. This is incredible. This is truly
really
active imagination in its best form. Okay, we have to take a quick break. When we get back, I clearly have a billion more questions for you because you are, I don't know if you've started writing your self-help book, but you should, because I'm literally taking so many notes on all of these things. It's fantastic. Okay, we'll be right back. We're not too deep.
Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Hello, listeners. Grace Helbig here, wanting to say two things. A big thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're a regular listener, if this is your first time listening, welcome and thank you. And second thing, if you are enjoying yourself here in this not too deep world we've built and you'd like to leave us a review, that would be so wonderful. If you can go to the iTunes store, the App Store, and leave us a lovely little review, comment. How are you feeling? Good, bad, otherwise? Maybe just good or otherwise would be appreciated. Other than that, enjoy the podcast.
Here's the Home Depot.
The haul. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, it looks like you're celebrating 4th of July.
I had the little flamingo.
Oh God.
Classic necessity.
I feel like, you're just embodying like a Florida retiree situation.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's kind of, there's kind of like it's not as impressive in this photo.
It's, you know what, to be fair, it's exactly how I imagined it.
That's awesome.
But it is one of those things where you're like, you have to get your creativity and your playfulness out in some way, and to do it in a harmless way on your own property. This wheel thing I'm doing. And so I will credit you with all of it, but that is
it's amazing.
So fantastic. That's how I think that people's anxieties should be navigated. How do you make a game out of it?
You're a Libra, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Aha. The wheel speaks to you.
The
Especially
scale, fair and
because
balance.
You're like, what the am I supposed to do here?
Exactly. Wait, what are you?
I'm a Cancer.
You're a kid. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit, if you don't mind, because you had mentioned tarot cards in that before.
Yeah.
What are, in terms of like, you do so much work in entertainment, and I find I love tarot cards that like, I grew up Catholic, but I'm not part of that church situation anymore. And to be able to have a sense of spirituality that still feels playful, which to me is what like tarot feels like. I'm curious what your like association with that is.
Yeah. It's like full blown witch, basically.
Well, okay, all right. So I have a billion notes, but one of my questions is, what do you mean exactly when you refer to yourself as a witch?
Right. That's a great question.
Yeah.
And now is the time where we talk about it. Things like you have a bundle of sage at your ready any
You gotta
moment.
smudge when you need to smudge.
You gotta smudge when you need to smudge. This world needs more smudging. Okay, let's see.
Well, I'm curious what your like go-to practices are, because this episode will go up in a couple weeks, but we've recently experienced a full moon here. I mean, everyone has. And so I have crystals, but I am not well versed in everything about them. One of the few things I looked up on the eve of the full moon was to charge my crystals by the moonlight. So took that on, but still don't necessarily know exactly like what the effects of that are. I'm curious if you have any, like, what's your go-to stuff? Yeah.
Okay. I think I hear the question. I think my take on being a witch is go to what you feel pulled towards. So, yes, you can look up like how to be a witch and then do A, B, C, D.
Sure.
But to me, that doesn't actually mean anything.
Right.
I think that people are drawn to different things. Like, for example, like I'm not drawn to fairy anything.
Sure.
Like,
You're connecting with your intuition about stuff.
Right. But I mean, what I mean by fairies is like actual fairies. Like people are super drawn to fairies, or people are drawn to crystals, or people are drawn to like earthy things or potions or, potions could be tinctures or scents.
Sure.
And there's a lot of, real world crossover things that you just naturally feel drawn to, or that light your body up in a certain way. Or like, oh, that excites me. Or, oh, I like candles more than crystals, or, and just, and then just following that, meaning whatever's pulling you, you just follow that. And that kind of is where you start your practice, because then you just trial and error, practice certain things, and you go towards what feels better. Not, like if you're like, I charged my crystals and then I didn't feel anything and that is just a dud, then I would just
move on from that.
Move on. Yeah. Until you find something that like,
speaks to you.
Usually it feels something that you would be inspired to do again and again.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I have an altar that I set up. Cool. I've been moving a lot since Turner and Hooch finished filming.
Okay.
Like a lot. a lot. Yeah. But I everywhere I move, as soon as I get there, I set up this altar. I do like I call on the 4 directions, and I feel very connected to earth magic, green magic, and ancestry, like ancestors and things like that. And so having that to me it feels now just a part of me.
Cool.
Like I put down my altar and then I feel grounded, and now I'm in my new place, and it kind of like sets this space around me so that no matter where I go, I feel like home and I feel centered. Now I've been like doing like witchcraft for a long time.
Sure.
And I do it with my friends too, which is always fun. Like usually I try to pull everyone together, new moons, full moons.
New moon ceremonies. We have witchy girl ceremonies where we release or we manifest, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
And it's fun. And even if you don't like the witch part or doesn't feel connected to the witch part, the connection that happens because you're using an excuse to get together, that is very valuable. And,
so true.
And also I believe that our words are spells too. So in self-talk, like this is going in my self-help book. Yeah. You have to realize that what you say about yourself, even if you believe it or not, when it comes out of your mouth, that's a spell. So the universe is coming here to mirror that. So just be careful with your word, be careful what you say about others, be careful how much you use the words like hate or, there's like some pretty charged words that we don't need to be saying. Yeah. So yeah.
That's beautiful, first of all. And also just like a way of being more present and conscious in your interactions with the world, with your history, with your future, with your present, all of it. And a lot of stuff that like I'm actually learning a lot more about now, which is so cool to hear like your perspective on all of it.
Yeah. You can't do it wrong, basically. You can't be a witch wrong.
That's how I feel. I mean, religion is so
yeah,
like,
you can do that wrong.
You can, and you're constantly told that you're doing it wrong.
Right, exactly.
So,
this is like the opposite.
This is which feels like the misidentification or misnomer about it, or the stigma around it, is that this is more intense when actually it's way more accepting of who you are as how you are. Okay, I'm going to pivot a little bit.
Okay,
and I'm going to ask you now the two questions I ask every single guest that's on the podcast. And the first question I ask everyone is, who, alive or dead, would you most like to throw cold spaghetti at? I saw you take it in, and I really appreciate that. And this is just to alleviate any of the heaviness that might be around this for you. This is just an answer of who in this moment comes to mind. This answer changes constantly. And it also doesn't have to be entirely negative. It can be celebratory. It can be positive in some capacity, if that's where you're at right now.
The first thought, best thought before it even got to the end of the sentence was Robin Williams. And now the more I think of it, that is just a really amazing moment.
That would be incredible. Yeah. Incredible. And I don't think it can't happen at some point. But okay, the other question that I ask every single guest is to tell us your worst pants shitting story, or like a bathroom emergency situation. However, you can only use 3 words or small phrases to describe the event. So, for example, mine is college jogging front lawn.
Mine would be school trip, ocean, regret.
There's so many guest answers do revolve in some way around a school scenario.
Yeah, because if you just have a shitting your pants story by yourself, it's like, oh, well, that's not that embarrassing.
But sometimes it is. But the anxiety of school, especially on a school trip, your body gets too excited.
So many emotions.
So much to learn on location. Okay, now we're going to get into a section called Deep and Hot, where I'm going to ask you a deep question that we've prepared for you, and for a hot take on kind of like a topic-ish that we have prepared for you. Okay. So, deep question for you. Since you've been, in entertainment for so long, how do you grow with your work?
I have the memory of a gnat. I cannot remember what happened to me 2 years ago or what I worked on.
Same. Okay.
Do you know that we worked together?
On my music, yeah. In doing all this research, I've been trying to Google all of it to figure out exactly where the cross connection happened. But same for me with what you're saying. I have to be told about things that have happened or things I've said, because I just black it out immediately after it happened. I won't remember anything we talk about on this podcast.
I know, same. I'll listen to it 3 years in the past, in the future, and I'll be like, who is that? Who is that?
I know. When I was looking at everything,
sounds different.
I was like, she was in Stick It, and then she was also in my music. My mind is scrambling right now. And you were in the new Are You Afraid of the Dark? My God.
I was trying to understand. I was trying to remember what my character was in my music.
The whole thing.
I'm remembering like Yoko Ono and
yeah, you were Loco Uno.
Loco Uno, that's right.
Which, who knows how?
But I wouldn't even know. Is that something that we can find online? I don't know if I want to.
Maybe. It might be one of those.
Shout out to Benny Fine.
Yeah, exactly. The Fine Brothers. Hello and thank you. And what a wild fever dream of an experience.
I remember thinking you are so talented and so impressive. I remember being like, that's so funny.
I was just moving to Los Angeles at the time. So behind the scenes, my brain was a chaotic mess of just trying to get acclimated to everything. Thank God I got to play a completely neurotic mess of a character, because I felt like most of it was just therapy for me of screaming at everyone and just being like, I'm panicking. And it's, some of it's real. Okay. Well, we're going to kind of gloss over that deep question. We're going to go to a hot take, because I feel like in touching on a lot of the projects that you've been in the past, Stick It is one of the most iconic kind of movies that represents this like early aughts genre of stuff, especially aesthetically, just the outfits, everything. I'm curious if you have a hot take on Gen Z not having the proper respect for like 90s, early aughts fashion. I feel like here's my thoughts on this is that I'm watching like flared jeans come back into, the realm of
crop
fashion.
tops and
Crop
low
tops,
rise,
the middle part versus the side part, craziness that I feel like I'm constantly judged by our younger generation for not dressing the way I dressed actually in middle school. And so I'm curious.
Like, you don't know how cool I was.
I had one pair of jeans in the limited 2 and they lasted me forever. But to be someone that worked in Hollywood, that worked in films that are kind of like, frozen in time in those moments, I'm curious your thoughts when you see a younger generation start to rock this stuff that you've worn on sets and in films and that sort of iconery of it all. Or do you feel a pressure to have to still keep up with a younger generation?
Yeah, that's what I feel. Like my hot takes against myself. I'm like, I don't understand why I'm having so much trouble doing something that I've already done. It might have to do with our great memories. Like, well, I don't remember how to be cool. Now you're telling me I was super cool when I thought I wasn't cool. Like that cat shirt I wore, like 5 days a week to school, never washed. Like that's what was. I don't get it. So yeah, I feel. You know what I feel? I feel like I'm happy there was evidence that at one point I was doing it right.
There you go. I know there is I think now, entering in this 36th year of my life that you are confronted with the idea that you are no longer, a spring chicken and you are instead now on the other side. And so I still operate like I'm 24 years old all the time. And then sometimes I zoom out on my situation. I go, what the hell are you doing? Like, level up.
I feel like there's a Dutch rope. Like TikTok is like a Dutch rope. Yeah. And I'm just like out of it, like just really trying to get, like, I really want to go in. But then like, I know that when I go in, everyone is looking at me going like, you're way too old to be skipping. Why are you at our elementary school? Like, go home. You don't work here. You don't go here. You're 36. So like, why are you giving me such a hard time about being out of it? But then when I try to be in it, like, it doesn't feel right either.
Exactly. That's the perfect metaphor. Yeah, that I feel like I'm going, hey guys, I'll jump in. And then I just get tangled up and I ruin everyone's time. And they're literally like, you're an adult. You should be doing your taxes somewhere. Stop coming to our recess right now.
I just want friends.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take one last break. Okay. And obviously, because you and I have such profound life advice and wisdom, we're going to work together when we get back to try and give someone that's written in some, guidance or advice on something that they are struggling with. So we will be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
Okay, Vanessa, clearly you have so much wisdom that I am eager to hear your thoughts on all of this. So this is someone that's written in. The thing that they have concern about is living with a partner. Their question is, I just moved in with my girlfriend after dating for 3.5 years. I'm finding it hard to adjust to fully sharing my space all the time and dealing with someone else's messes. Do you have any advice for first moving in with someone and how to make it work? I mean, you've been moving so much. I'm
kind of like a move in right away kind of partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's back to the codependent only child thing. My advice is, well, first I want to say good job.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
I mean, they waited 3.5 years before they moved in. So they got to see all the nuances of their partner before they like doubled down.
Just went in.
Yeah.
I would say just like be really clear about your own needs and wants, like just over communicate. And then a secret that I use is to take out the word but. So let's say it's like, you want to be like, I want more alone space. Instead of saying, like, I want my alone space, but I don't want to hurt your feelings, or, but like, I know you might want something else. You could say, and I want you to feel like, not dropped here. And then wait for like a solution to come up with in the partnership. So like, present your truth. Don't use the word but to compare it to like what, the other side.
Sure.
Just say there's just two things that are true here. I want my alone space and I want to feel close to you, or I want you to feel, and then come up with a solution together. That would be my advice.
I think that's great, because I do think the word but is wildly triggering.
So triggering, because then you're just like pretending things are against each other and they might not be.
And I can say for myself firsthand that when I hear someone say the word but, I can't say authentically that I'm still listening to the intentions of the conversation versus, but here's where I'm the problem scenario. I will say, on top of what you've already kind of, inspired me with, there is a world in which if you move in with someone and you're like, I don't like dealing with someone else's messes, you can buy this spin wheel, put chores on it, and then gamify your situation in which you can share openly what the expectations are of who cleans what each week, and how do you make it fun versus making it like the obligation that this person has to do to meet your requirements to be living there.
Totally.
I also think, like what you're saying, being overly communicative is just key for everything.
Put on a 20-minute timer, put on a great playlist that you guys agree on, and like do just 20 minutes of cleaning together as like a fun thing. 20 minutes of cleaning gets a lot done. And then it's not like your mind's like, oh gosh, how long is this going to take? Or I don't want to do it. It's just like a bite. It's so bite-sized, easy.
And also, that you're not walking past the sink with dirty dishes and looking at your partner going, I'm waiting. Now I'm just like a parent watching and waiting for you to clean up after yourself. And now we're not on equal playing field anymore.
Yeah.
The
dishes is an issue.
Well, I have this theory that you're like the way you feel energetically is very signified by how dirty your sink is currently. That I find myself on days.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Right.
Grace.
But also something that can be kind of manageable, because I find when I am the most like depressed, or I wake up heavy in my heart, I'll look in my kitchen and just be like, oh, none of this has been taken care of. The metaphor looms around me. And when I just like pick myself up and clean some dishes, clean out my sink, suddenly I have the capacity to clean some other stuff in my life.
Okay. I trust this.
Look, we're gonna keep collaborating on this self-help book that we put together, everyone. All right, Vanessa, we are getting to the end of the podcast. This has been, I know, this has been so fun. I feel like I have so much more to glean from you about just like life advice. But before we wrap up, we like to give a gift, a token of our appreciation to our guests. And that is that we create personalized horoscopes for you from us. Melissa's going to put your personalized horoscope in the chat. And when she does, if you could read it aloud to the class, that'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Dear Cancer, crab of the stars, there lies a strong chance of a volatile argument rising up with someone close in your school. Try your best to clear the air quickly with an honest heart. But if they some rude shit, remember, it's not called gymnastics.
Oh, damn.
But if they some rude shit, I'm always worried about that.
I think that's how they say it on TikTok.
Oh, no.
I have
Is
no
it
idea.
a TikTok reference I don't get?
Not at all.
I was really worried about this.
Are you on you haven't joined TikTok, you said?
No, so 3 years ago, maybe it was pre-pandemic. My cousin Jenna, who is the right age to make 36-year-olds feel bad about themselves. She had me do some dances.
Okay.
So I have like an account, And then like a couple years ago, or maybe this year, I can't remember. I definitely changed. So I got my little Lengies, you know, my handle or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's
that's as
overwhelming.
far.
It is.
It's so overwhelming. Although I'll say this, I had to put myself on tape for an audition yesterday, which is a whole other nightmare of a story. But it was a punk hipster butcher. Punk hipster butcher. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. At least it wasn't a gorgeous, a gorgeous punk. You know how they put that in the description? You're like, can you just stop?
Stop. I'm not going to get my hair blown out to do this.
I can't not take that. Anyways, okay. We're ending. But I don't remember. Oh yeah, I went on the TikTok. And it was very accessible tutorials on what like punk makeup and punk hair was.
Oh.
Like of the day.
Yeah.
Of the time, of the now.
Wow. Okay.
So I thought that was really helpful.
Look, I do believe that TikTok is a resource. However, I cannot deny that as soon as I open it up, I am overwhelmed by the amount of shit on there. Everyone is the funniest person I've ever seen in my entire life on there.
Absolutely. How did you have the time to edit these videos? They're so cute.
What do I possibly have to add to this platform that doesn't already exist or isn't already done way more like in line with what the trends are than what I'm going to do?
Like, I'm going to put something out. They're going to be like, oh, this is
You didn't use this soundbite correctly. You have no idea what the meme is about this. And I'm going to go, yeah, you're absolutely right. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just embarrassing myself constantly.
Oh my God,
now.
Grace. Totally.
We're in the same boat.
We're in the same boat. I love our boat. It's so cute.
It's barely keeping above water right now.
We have a tiny little hole, but I got a wine cork, and we're gonna shove it in.
Well, Vanessa, where can people find you on whatever social media platform that you're on? And Turner and Hooch is out now on Disney Plus. Everyone can see that.
Yeah, so Turner and Hooch is on Disney Plus. All the episodes are streaming.
Great.
If you want to watch just one episode just to see me, please watch episode 10.
There you go.
It is the episode where my dog gets stolen, and I play Liam Neeson in
Give me back your dog.
Turner and Hooch version of Taken. So
Amazing.
please watch that. And then the social media that I use barely is Instagram. Cool. I really try.
Yeah.
I really try.
Hey, I'm with you.
Yours looks beautiful. I loved it.
Thank you
love
so
the
much.
Dogs, love the house.
Back at you too. It's but trust me, it is a constant curious endeavor every day.
Poor Twitter. My poor Twitter. Like I feel so bad.
I can't do it.
Her. Like I'm just like that's just
I know. Same.
Floating downstream. I have no idea how to.
I'm right with you there. It is, I'm giving myself credit for saying goodbye to some things that don't need to be hung out with at the moment. Vanessa, this is so fun. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So excited for the future parking space, artistic installations that you get into. Guys, go follow everything that she's up to. When she gets up to it, go watch Turner and Hooch, episode 10. And otherwise, get your sage on, get your spirituality on. And we'll see you next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated. Producer Melissa D. Montz. Edited by Shireen Lani Yunus. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. And an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.